Hello, welcome along to the Bunnyhop, powered by Cannondale, where there's no shortage of excitement to talk about this month. Here's what's coming up. We have all the action from the World Championships with our roving reporter, Sadhbh O'Shea. We go round to Olympic champion Katie Archibald for tea. Riejanne Markus lets us in on all her passions and pet hates in Something About Me. And we take a closer look at the Women's Tour. Well, it is good to be back, and alongside me today in these hot seats is returning guest, former Team Time Trial World Champion, and someone that has a song about cheese, Katie Colclough.
I've actually got a few songs about cheese in my resume.
Well, I'm going to come straight back to you on that, but next, let's welcome for the first time here in the studio, journalist, and someone that I think always carries around a photo of One Direction's Niall Horan, Tilda Price.
Yeah, in my phone. Often get asked about that one because I try and change my background to something sensible because I know people look at it sometimes and then I forget that it's just Niall Horan in the back of my phone. People say, is that your boyfriend? I go, no, I wish. But yeah, always there.
So what's going to happen? I'm going to say if, but when you meet him?
I just have to throw my phone away. I don't have one.
I just don't have a phone.
Yeah, I just don't have one.
Now, Katie, you know what's coming next. Would you like to sing us a song about cheese?
I'm not sure I'm quite ready for that.
Give us the background.
I'm quite fond of cheese. One of the songs was taken from the Mighty Boosh, which I enjoyed, and the other one's themed around Stilton, and begins with "Sweet dreams are made of cheese." That's as much as you're getting.
Oh, I'm just so pleased we even got that much. Thank you very much. Well, we've been treated to a spectacular edition of the Road World Championships over in Flanders. Let's hear now from our woman in Belgium, Velonews reporter Sadhbh O'Shea.
It's Women's Road Race Day at the World Championships here in Flanders, and you can see the road there where the women will be passing through on their way to Leuven. We're going to be heading to the press room now to hopefully watch a fantastic race. It's a beautiful day for some racing. You know, there was some rumours of a little bit of rain or maybe a little bit of wind. We're just at the press room here. Some salubrious surroundings. Smells a little bit like swimming pool inside. And yeah, I've got my pass, so I'm ready to go in. So the peloton have just rolled through Leuven for the first time. There's still riders coming through to the finish line. The race is really broken up. The riders are now going to do another lap of this circuit before heading out to the Flandrian circuit where some of the biggest climbs are. It's been a pretty cagey race so far. The Dutch have made a couple of little digs off the front. There's around 15 kilometres to go in the women's road race. Mavi Garcia is on the attack. She's been reeled back though by a really strong group of riders. I'm on my way to the mix zone, which is where we get to speak to riders after the stage. It's the morning after the women's road race. It got pretty hectic there yesterday after the finish. All the different journalists from different media from all over the world are trying to get a word with their chosen riders. The Italians were incredibly happy. Obviously, Balsamo was overjoyed with her rainbow jersey yesterday. I think it's a victory that's been a long time coming, and while many of us in the media, maybe the fans, didn't speculate too much about Balsamo, quite a few of the riders said afterwards that they saw that she was going in incredible form, and she was definitely one of the riders to beat yesterday, and so it proved. Lots of other stories going on. There were lots of riders actually competing in their final race of their career. Jolien Dorda, who got a massive standing ovation from the Belgian crowd. Caroline Cannondale, Ruth Winder as well. Anna van der Breggen was closing out an illustrious career. She seems ultimately quite relieved to have just completed her final race. I mean, she was suffering with fatigue after a really hectic season, and she had to pull out of the time trial defence, she had to pull out of the mixed team relay. So one of the things she mentioned yesterday was just being able to celebrate with the crowds. And yeah, the crowds were phenomenal. to have our kind of first World Championships with crowds again. I don't think we could have had a better place than having it in Flanders.
But it really was such a sensational edition of the Worlds, wasn't it? And of course, we mentioned earlier, you've been a world champion yourself. How big is it going into the Worlds, not only to field it, but to win it and go away with the rainbow bands?
Yeah, it's obviously like the best feeling, and for me it was really unexpected. It was a little bit different, so I rode the team time trial, which was with my trade team, which was Specialised Lululemon at the time, and then in that same event I transferred over and rode the road race for the national team. And obviously you're racing with people that you know as fellow kind of countrymen, and you race with them all year, but they're normally your competitors, so it's often quite difficult to build that quick team bonding just for that one race of the year, but it can be a really difficult dynamic to manage. And I think if you look at the Dutch team, they've got quite a few riders that all ride for SD Works, and I think that's good, but it does kind of segregate their team a little bit further again, I imagine.
Well, talking about that dynamic, ahead of the Olympic Games in Tokyo, we were saying they cannot be beaten, or at least saying how can they be beaten, but they were by Anna Kiesenhofer. Do you think it made it much more wide open coming into the Worlds for that reason?
It was interesting because I think we all thought the Dutch team had a point to prove going into that race because, as you say, Tokyo was a disappointment for them. Although they didn't come away with a win, I would say they did show a lot better this weekend that they can ride together as a team. You know, things like seeing Annemiek van Vleuten burying herself on the front of the group, it's not something we're really used to. I think even though they didn't come away with a win, and I know they took that quite hard, I think they can look at that as a big improvement, especially from Tokyo.
I wouldn't want to be DS of the Dutch squad. I mean, how do you prioritise who's riding for who when you've got any number that can win?
I heard from some of their post-race interviews that they'd said it was a little bit open and anyone could go up the road if they could get in a move they knew they could win in. I think it was probably Ellen that had said it, and she'd been up the road at one point and thought, I haven't got the sprint for this, it just didn't work. So it sounds like they probably left it quite an open tactic.
They used Annemiek van Vleuten on the front, also Lucinda Brand put in a big effort, and then kind of fell off of the peloton. And I think they thought that they would really whittle it down to a small group and get rid of these sprinters.
Let's look at how it was won by Elisa Balsamo, because she did have that perfect lead out.
The Italian team were not the most visible team in that big group, but actually they came together just perfectly when it mattered. Suddenly there was three of them on the front in a perfect lead out, and you can tell how much faster they were going than everyone else, because in the end, Balsamo and Vos had a gap on everyone else. She just had that final speed in the end to beat one of the best in the world, Marianne Vos. It was amazing from Balsamo. A lot of people, myself included, probably went back and looked at her results from the year. And when you look at them all together, it's only her second win, but she's had a lot of top fives, a lot of top tens in really hard races. And I think when you look at that all together, you think, oh yeah, she probably should have been a big pre-race favourite, and it's kind of a natural culmination of her season. She's off to Trek next year, which with the rainbow bands and a whole team behind you like that will be a massive confidence boost.
Do you think the lead out could have made a difference for Vos on the day?
I think it could, yeah. I think that Lizzie Deignan, in one of her post-race interviews, identifies it really well, that she says you give the Italians like a sniff of a sprint victory in a lead out like that, and they've nailed it and they've taken that opportunity. And I think that the Dutch definitely didn't set Marianne up as well as they could in that incident. The repetition of the circuits at the end there as well, and it was kind of, I guess, a little bit like a early season classic. The top speeds are up to like 60k coming out of the corners and things. So it was really, really quick racing. And I wonder whether that again played into the hands of the Italians, with obviously the winner being a previous track rider as well. So that kind of top end speed, something that's probably really, really useful in that environment.
Was there anyone not up there that you would have expected, notably?
Corin Rivera, she was, I think, 10th or close to that position there. The Americans didn't really feature that much at all, it seemed, in the race. I didn't notice them too much. And I thought Lisa Brenner might actually be a bit further up there. I mean, she's done lots of different amazing things this year, hasn't she? So I had kind of a bit of money on her and Kasia Niewiadoma were those two I was thinking, I wonder how they'll get on.
All in all, we sometimes look at third and think, well, for a rider like Niewiadoma, she can do better than that, she can win. But actually, on a course like that, with the sprint finish, we don't think of Kasia as a sprinter. And so to sprint among people like that and be beating sprinters, like pure sprinters, like Corin Rivera, for example, it's a huge result for her. And I think, I hope she kind of takes that into next season, and a third at Worlds can easily be translated to a win somewhere else, I think.
Well, it's that time in the programme where we gently pedal away from the race chat and get to know a member of the pro peloton just that little bit better in our postcard feature. And this month we headed to the idyllic roads of Scotland to catch up with reigning Olympic champion Katie Archibald.
Oh, there's weight to that.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm going to go straight in with a big question today. How do you feel about socks over leg warmers?
Oh, no warm-up, straight. I know that I'm meant to have an opinion. And what I feel is that I want to have the right opinion. I'm going to say I love it.
Yes.
Yeah?
Definitive answer. I'm going to
Okay,
take
good.
that. Thank you, thank you. I'm super excited for today to ride with you, of course, but I have to ask, do I get the opportunity to see your mum?
Everybody's top priority. But yeah, that's today's cafe stop.
Oh, I'm really excited for that. I can't wait to get on the roads. What's in store?
So we're in Largs and we're going to go over Old Largs Road and then we'll pop down into Port Glasgow for a coffee.
Yes. Can't wait for that bit. Amazing.
Here we go. There's no such thing as a hill that's too steep, only a gear that's too big.
That's good. And every time I have a little Google, I always find diary extracts from you. Have you always kept a diary?
I've got a lot of journals. The journal from when I was like 15, 16, that's all about who you're in love with at the time. It's basically all about like, oh my God, I'm so fat, or oh my God, I'm so horny. That's the whole thing is just like really, really superficial stuff. Then I've got my grander thoughts journal, a nice like red leather bound kind of thing. I could imagine my grandchildren reading this and thinking, wow, what a complex inner life she had. You know? And then you get a few entries in and it's back to just more like, oh my God, I'm so fat, oh my God, I'm so horny. And it's, but in an existential way, so that's fine. I got another journal that's just all my favorite song lyrics and all the notes with like some nice quotes, stuff like that.
So you're talking about diaries and reflecting. What's this period of time following the Tokyo Olympics like for you? Do you get that time off to go and celebrate and everything that goes with it, or is it just straight back into the next target?
I want to go to Euros, I want to go to Worlds, I want to do London 6 Day, I want to do the Track Champions League. There's like 10 weekends with 9 races. I'm not really wanting to, I'm not wanting to have a break. I will do later, but I just want to get racing again.
Cattle grid! I so enjoyed watching your post-race interviews with Laura after the Madison gold at the Olympics, of course. It seemed absolutely huge, as it should be, but almost even huger than your other medals.
So many of the sports people that inspire me, they sound crazy before they've done it, or they sound crazy afterwards. They say like, this is always what I wanted and I always knew I could do it. I think like, well, you maniac. Like, there's just, it can't always be that way. And then so this was kind of my first first taste of that, of really deciding that I want something and that I'm going to do everything to make it happen, and just wouldn't have been happy with less. The women's first ever Olympic Madison. It's not just the fact that it's the first time that we're allowed to race it. It's like, it's all the best parts of track cycling wrapped up into this one event.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, and it felt so just feels so important. You can have a debate over whether it's more important to win the Tour de France or win Olympic gold. Whereas when it comes to both women's cycling and track cycling, I think the Olympic Games takes just that extra level of prestige. Like hands down 100% for us as track cyclists. That is the big one.
Well, this is a pretty nice view up here.
Yeah, you're just so quickly in the middle of nowhere. Just total escape. I say this mostly from stalking your Instagram. Let's call it research. You do seem to be quite aware of mindfulness and being in the moment. Is that fair to say? It does, yes. What about I'm now psychologically going back through my own Instagram with mindfulness. I'll tell you actually, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'll embarrass myself further. I'm really into this Doechii album at the moment. It's only it's like 7 tracks long. I only like 3.5 of them, but there's an interlude track that's her talking about God and kind of accepting God as an infinite resource and as the ultimate creator, and there being an infinite amount of creativity accessible to you in the world, and that once you accept that you can receive this from the ultimate creator. I'm not religious, I'll just say that in the middle. I'm not religious. Yeah, it just it really made an impact on me. But again, I'm surprised that that's come through on my Instagram of all things.
So Sinead's is on SAS Who Dares Wins at the moment. Have you watched it yet?
Yeah, she seems like exactly the right kind of person for it. And I would classify myself as exactly the wrong kind of person for that show. But she does the whole, she's into CrossFit, and I can't do a press up, but she's the full package.
Can you really not do a press up?
I can go, I can do the down. That's actually part of my gym routine.
I thought you said this was the descent.
Yeah,
Is this what you call a
this is the
descent?
downhilly bit. The downhilly bit.
Downhilly bit. Bye. Absolutely no surprises that at the first sign of a massive incline, you can hear my breathing. I've let Katie go at her pace and I'm just holding back a little bit. I'll see her at the top. Oh my goodness. You don't even look like you've broken a sweat, Katie.
I'm feeling pretty guilty about it. But yeah.
How was that for you?
You know what? It was pretty good for me actually. That was a good ego boost. But, we'll get
to give you that.
We'll get you on some slick tyres and I'm sure it'll be alright.
Do you know what? I can't blame my tyre width for that, but this is worth it. Can you see your mum's house from up here?
No, so we're looking down in Greenock that way. My mum's Port Glasgow, which is over the other side. So we've got one tiny little lump to go over, and then we just drop down into my mum's, and it's all plain sailing from there.
Shall we head to your mum's for some tea?
Yes, I'm ready. Tea, lunch, dinner, let's fit it all in.
All of it.
Yes, please.
Oh my God. So this has become a serious Strava segment, hasn't it?
The most serious, yeah. A little climb into my mum's house that you'd only ever really ride if you're going into this estate. My boyfriend's got it at 54 seconds. I'm trailing at 57.
Ooh. Wishful thinking that your mum had a house at the bottom of this
sorry.
estate. Oh wow, it's beautiful.
Mum, you let us in? No, the answer. Hello.
Hello.
Very well, very
Should
well.
we bring the bikes in?
Yeah.
So good, thank you. Bit hilly.
I'll guard it. Wow, because that doesn't look weak.
Are you sure? What's next for you?
Oh, so much is next, but the biggest thing is the UCI Track Champions League through the winter. It's the first season they're going to be running this, and it's a big deal.
It is very exciting, and do you know what's also very exciting is this array of cakes. Shall we dig in?
Oh, there's weight to that. Wow. And that's my teeth glued together. Can you do that with coffee? Yeah.
We just did. Another rider that wowed us at the Olympic Games was Blanka Vas, and then she followed that up, taking 4th place in the World Championships on the road. Tilda, you've been particularly impressed with her this season.
Really impressed, yeah. It's her second big 4th place of the year. She came fourth in the Olympics mountain bike race behind that excellent all-Swiss podium. And I think that really put her on a lot of people's radars. But she'd been having a really good season running up to that, a few seconds and thirds in the World Cups. And then, after Tokyo, she made a mid-season transfer to SD Works and has really backed up her strong mountain bike season with some good results on the road. Even before the Worlds, she had a 4th and a 6th at the Ceratizit Challenge. And so, I think it was a really excellent 4th place, having a proper World Tour road team around her. It will be interesting to see how that goes. And I think if she's getting 4th in these kind of races, she's got a lot of options available to her, and still so young, we don't know what kind of rider she'll turn into on the road.
And Katie, do you think we're seeing a lot more riders in the road peloton who do span the disciplines? We seem to be.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to see how the road cycling and mountain biking has now started to become the cross discipline. I know it did used to happen, but not so much, and it seems that it transfers really well into the kind of classic style races, which I think the Worlds wasn't it? So it'll be really interesting, and I'm also interested to see how Blanka Vas will do in SD Works with the two kind of new DSs coming through, so Anna van der Breggen and then along the way Chantal Black as well. So I think she's got some great support there, hasn't she?
Well, normally at this time of the season, things have started to wind down, but not this time, because we've got some of the biggest races on the calendar still to come, most notably the first ever edition of Paris-Roubaix and the Women's Tour. For now, we're going to take a little look back at one of the most decisive stages of the last edition to take place back in 2019. We can take a look now at the state of play on the road.
So we can see we're on the final climb now, and Kasia Niewiadoma, who was in second going into the day, she's got her teammate Hannah Barnes leading her up this climb. They're clearly going, hoping to gain some time over Liana Lippert here.
So I think this stage is where it's kind of won and lost. So we know we have a few people in that top 3 there that could still win this. So getting those seconds on the line or any kind of time gaps will be decisive for the overall for sure.
And I think here where you see Lizzie go, she is only 3 seconds off the lead. And obviously, I would say Trek aren't there to beat Liana Lippert. She's already slipping back. But they are looking to take some time off of Kasia Niewiadoma, which I think is why you see Elisa Longo-Borghini going with her to try and either neutralise the move or be there to set up Lizzie Deignan as we get to the finish line.
Yes, it's still going uphill for quite a bit here. So the more they can get in that breakaway, the better. I don't think it would have been worthwhile Longo-Borghini trying to just let those two go at this stage.
I think we can notice here as well that Niewiadoma hasn't looked round, so she doesn't know that she's just dragging a pair of Trek Segafredo riders with her. We see she looks around there and clearly asks them to put some effort in on the front. Being outnumbered by 2 such good riders, it was always going to be very difficult to try and win this one.
I think at least Niewiadoma knows now that she can just sit on. They're not expecting her to pull through after this bit now. She knows she's in the minority, so I think she can sit and play off of that at least.
And we're coming in this turn to the finale now.
There's a little bit of jostling. Niewiadoma is understandably trying to stay on Elisa Longo-Borghini's wheel, but Deignan is trying to latch onto that herself and not let Niewiadoma have the benefit of that excellent lead out.
And we know in this scenario, Deignan's got that gallop to the line.
Yeah, and she's definitely pushing through there. I think this bit here is quite critical, isn't it? Where I think Longo-Borghini's not quite realised Lizzie's on the right, and I think Lizzie's probably shouted at her then. She's got through, and it's quite perfect because as Longo-Borghini's drifted over, you can see she's made Kasia have to take the long line just there.
Arms in the air for the teammates there from Trek Segafredo. And indeed, that meant that she went into the final stage with 1 second over Kasia Niewiadoma. That was such a hard-fought battle throughout the whole week.
Yeah, and I think that's something very interesting about the Women's Tour is that it does come down to seconds. We see in some stage races in Europe where there's one big mountain climb and someone, probably Annemiek van Vleuten, takes 2 minutes and there's kind of no coming back. There's no coming back from that.
It's always such a good race in that respect, isn't it? And what are you expecting from this year's edition, Katie?
Yeah, I think it's obviously very end of the year, like you said, the season's not dying down. So I think there's going to be some people that are probably quite tired now, and probably the Worlds was an example of that, where some people you thought might feature just didn't feature at all. So I think fatigue will definitely come into it. I think I always found coming back to the UK after being racing on European roads, the surfaces are much smoother, and you'd always come back to the UK. The roads would always feel heavy. So I'd say that's something we're expecting out of the women's tour.
Right, time now for something about me. And this month it's the turn of Jumbo-Visma's Riejanne Markus.
I have an unreasonable fear of spiders. I know it's stupid, but I really hate them. The thing I do first when I get home after a race is first unpacking, then washing, and then cleaning the house. And afterwards, I can enjoy being home. I like my peanut butter on toasted white bread. Love it. The hashtag I live by is Happy Riders Go Faster. My hometown is famous for, well, it's literally translated called the Black Cat. So they say in Dutch that it's bringing bad luck, but well, I think it's bringing me good luck. I have a collection of race numbers. I never throw them away, I always keep them. Pizza should be an everyday meal, and then having tiramisu as a dessert because it's the best dessert in the world. I love it. My next holiday destination is Spain. Since childhood, I never grew out of, well, candy, chocolate, cookies, cake, pie, everything which is sweet actually. My pre-race ritual is sending my boyfriend a text message that I love him. The best smell in the world is pancakes. I love learning more about Italian language. The last thing I ate was, well, I'm currently at a race, so it was rice. Really boring actually. One thing that I should bring back from the past is racing time trials without a bike computer, so that you really have to race on your feeling. I can't walk past the shop if it sells food or clothes or books or coffee. I don't know. I like all kind of shops actually.
Pizza and tiramisu on the menu every single day. We'll take that one here in the studio, won't we? That's for sure. And that just leaves time for one final question. As always, we threw that over to you, Bunny Hoppers, over on social media. And a big thanks to Kate for this month's question, which is assemble your dream Roubaix squad. Tilda.
Well, I heard that turbo training is quite good preparation for Roubaix, so I think you and your turbo addiction, me, you, Marianne Vos, someone like Cecilie Uttrup-Ludwig to keep the morale up. I mean, we're top 10ing, aren't we?
I just love how you rolled our names into that sentence so seamlessly. I like the sound of that.
It's all comparable.
Katie, can you beat that? I mean, we're a pretty strong squad.
I think I just want to add to that there. I mean, you all sound very nice teammates. We could have a nice, happy family there that I like as a team on the road. But I think we need someone with a bit of grit. So I'd add Villanelle from Killing Eve into the mix. You need someone that's willing to kind of take that front wheel out where it needs to be.
That's absolutely amazing. You're taking a pure assassin, literally, to the race.
A little look into the inside of bike racing for you.
Oh, love that. Katie, Tilda, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks both of you for all the insight. Well, we're out of time, but we'll be back this time next month for the final episode in this series. I know, it's so sad. But in the meantime, if you're not already giving us a follow over on social media, come over, the more the merrier, at the bunnyhop_cc. We'll see you next time. Keep riding, keep bunny hopping. Bye-bye for now.